The top 10 train crashes in the world. Number 1. Nicklasdorf train collision. At 12:45 Central European Time on the 12th of February 2018, 2 passenger trains were involved in a sidelong collision at Nicklasdorf, Austria. The trains were a Deutsche Bahn Eurocity Express train and a local train operated by ABB. 2. Several carriages had one side ripped off. Carriages from both trains were derailed. 1 person was killed and 22 were injured. 3. Both train drivers were amongst the injured. There were at least 60 passengers on the Eurocity train. 19 ambulances and 2 emergency doctors were amongst the emergency services personnel sent to deal with the accident. 4. The injured were taken to hospitals in Bruck an der Mur and Leoben. Everyone had been rescued by 14:30. 2. The railway between Bruck an der Mur and Leoben was closed as a result of the accident. 3. The line between Graz and St. Michael in Obersteiermark was also closed. Number 2. 2004 Sri Lanka tsunami train wreck. The 2004 Sri Lanka tsunami train wreck is the largest single rail disaster in world history by death toll, with 1,700 fatalities or more. It occurred when a crowded passenger train, No 50, Matara Express, was destroyed on a coastal railway in Sri Lanka by a tsunami that followed the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake. The tsunami subsequently caused over 30,000 reported deaths and billions of rupees in property damage in the coastal areas of Sri Lanka. Train number 50 Matara Express was a regular train operating between the cities of Colombo and Matara. The route runs along the southwestern coast of Sri Lanka and at Tawata, only about 200 meters, 660 feet, inland from the sea. On Sunday, the 26th of December 2004, during both the Buddhist full moon holiday and the Christmas holiday weekend, it left Colombo's Fort Station shortly after 6:50 am with over 1,500 paid passengers and an unknown number of unpaid passengers, including the ones with travel passes, called seasons, and government travel permits. 2. The train was pulled by locomotive number 591 Manitoba, a Sri Lanka Railways Class M2A built in 1956 by General Motors Diesel of Canada as a Model G12. Number 3. Santiago de Compostela derailment. At 2041 CEST, 1841 UTC, on the 24th of July 2013, 19, the passenger train, on an express route from Madrid to Ferrol, derailed on a section of conventional track at the end of the Olmuda Zamora Galicia line, at Angois in Santiago de Compostela. 10. All vehicles are the 2 power cars, their adjacent generator cars, both with diesel tanks, at both ends of the train, and the 9 intermediate carriages A derailed as the train rounded the A Grand Recurve. 4 cars overturned. 10. A trackside CCTV camera video indicates that the front generator car was the first to leave the rails, followed by the leading passenger coaches, the front power car, the rear generator car, and finally the rear power car. 11:12. 3 of the carriages were torn apart in the accident and another caught fire due to gaseous leaking diesel fuel. The rear generator car also caught fire. The train was carrying 218 passengers at the time of the crash. 1. Out of the 218 passengers, there were 79 fatalities, at one point reported as 80 due to a misidentification of some remains, and the remaining 139 were injured. Among the dead there were 12 foreigners, 2 French, 2 Italians, 2 Americans, an Algerian, a Venezuelan, a Brazilian, a Colombian, a Mexican and a Dominican. 13. One of the victims was Spanish journalist Enrique Botas. The train's 2 drivers were injured but survived. 14:15 The Santiago de Compostela derailment occurred on the 24th of July 2013, when an Alvia high-speed train traveling from Madrid to Ferrol, in the northwest of Spain, derailed at high speed on a bend about 4 kilometers, 2.5 miles, outside of the railway station at Santiago de Compostela. Of the 178 people injured, the provisional number of deaths in hospital had reached 79 by the following the 28th of July. 2. The train's data recorder showed that it was traveling at over twice the posted speed limit of 80 kilometers per hour, 50 miles per hour, when it entered a curve on the track. The crash was recorded on a trackside camera that shows all 13 train cars derailing and 4 overturning. On the 28th of July 2013, the train's driver, Francisco Joyce copyright Gaz Cubanamo, was charged with 79 counts of homicide by professional recklessness and an undetermined number of counts of causing injury by professional recklessness. 3. The crash was Spain's worst trail accident in over 40 years, since a crash near El Curvo, Seville, in 1972. 24. Note 1. Number 4. Shigaraki train disaster. The accident happened at 10:35, 1:35 UTC, local time on May 14, 1991, on the SKR Shigaraki line between Onotani Signal Station and Shigaraki-Gashi. A special Junior West Rapid Service train, 501D, from Kyoto bound for Shigaraki had entered the Shigaraki line at Kibukawa Station from the Kusatsu line, transporting 716 passengers to the World Ceramic Festival that was being held in Shigaraki at the time. Going in the opposite direction, an SKR local train, 534D, had left Shigaraki and headed for Kibukawa, despite a red signal. The Onotani Signal Station, A-ring degrees EZE degrees middle dot A diaresis inverted question mark inverted exclamation mark A-ring middle dot A-ring apostrophe. Onotani Shing A-ring J A-ring was the only point on the single track line where two trains can safely pass, but the Junior West train had already gone past its signal station, as it was given a green signal despite the approaching SKR train. The signal station has been deactivated since the disaster. The Shigaraki train disaster, A diaresis inverted question mark inverted exclamation mark hash and 1/2 A-ring ZE micro EE inverted exclamation mark C Sedilla superscript A diaresis superscript hash. Shigaraki K A-ring Gentet Sud A-ring SH A-ring Totsujai-ko was a railway accident that occurred in Shigaraki, Naokoka, Shiga Prefecture, Japan on May 14, 1991. A Shigaraki K A-ring Jin Railway, SKR, train and a West Japan Railway Company, Junior West, train collided head-on, killing 42 people and injuring 614 others, until the Nagasaki derailment in 2005. This was the deadliest railway disaster in Japan since the Yokohama rail crash of 1963, which killed 161 people. Number 5. 2021 Hualien train derailment. On the 2nd of April 2021, a southbound Taroko Express train numbered 408 left Shulin in New Taipei at 7:16 NST heading for Taitung. 25:26, the train was scheduled to arrive at Hualien at 9:39 NST. 26. At 9:28 NST, 1:28 UTC, the train derailed as it was entering Kingshui Tunnel, between Henan and Chong. 27:28, it was carrying 494 passengers and 4 staff members in 8 carriages. 29:3, and was traveling on the eastern track. 30, according to media reports, a flatbed truck D, used in the slope stabilization project slid about 20 meters, 66 feet, down the side of a hill, fell onto the tracks, and was struck by the oncoming train, 1633-1013, which was traveling at 125 kilometers per hour, 78 miles per hour. When the driver spotted the obstruction, a brake application had only reduced the speed to 121 kilometers per hour, 75 miles per hour. At the time of the collision, the front of the train derailed to the left, and struck the portal as it entered the tunnel. 34. At the time, no construction was actively being carried out, in observance of the holiday. 22:30E, the driver of the truck was not in the vehicle during the accident, but was in the nearby construction site office. 33:37, car number 8, at the front of the train, F, collided with the truck shortly before entering the tunnel, partially derailing the train. 38, the train then entered the tunnel, with the front of the train also crashing into the tunnel's interior walls as the carriages piled up. 38, car nose. 7 and 8 were heavily damaged, and accounted for most of the fatalities. 38, car nose. 8 through 3, the front 6 carriages, were trapped in the tunnel when the train came to a halt, with car number 3 having only partially entered the tunnel. 39:21 on the 2nd of April 2021, at 9:28 NST, 1:28 UTC, a Taroko Express train operated by the Taiwan Railways Administration, TRA, derailed at the north entrance of Kingshui Tunnel in Hare Section, Xulin Township, Hualien County, Taiwan, killing 49 people and injuring at least 200 others. 67895. At the time of the accident, the train was carrying 494 passengers. 3. The 8-carriage train derailed after colliding with a construction truck that had fallen down a slope onto the tracks north of Hualien City. The train came to rest in the tunnel, with severe damage and many casualties. 10. The train incident was primarily due to human factors and was preventable, as an investigation from the New York Times revealed that it was systemic failures at a government agency, including a culture of complacency and weak oversight, that had made the disaster possible. 11. The accident is the deadliest train crash and second deadliest trail accident in Taiwan, surpassed only by a train fire in 1948 which may have killed up to 64 people. 1213. Number 6. Hinton train collision. The freight train left Edson at 6:40 a.m., about 38 kilometers, 24 miles, from Edson. It was halted at sidings outside Medicine Lodge to allow two eastbound trains to pass. It departed Medicine Lodge at 8:02 a.m. and traveled 5 kilometers, 3.1 miles, reaching Hagwin at 8:20 a.m. where a section of double track started. The train dispatcher at Edmonton set the dual control switch, DCS, so that the freight train took the north track. At about the same time, the Supercontinental was stopped at Hinton. It departed 5 minutes late on the single track. 1. At 8:29 a.m. As the Supercontinental approached the start of the double track section, the dispatcher from the CTC lined the dual control switch at Dalehurst to the south track. This set the absolute 3-aspect signal at the Dalehurst control point on the north line, about 490 feet, 150 meters, before the end of double track, to an absolute stop indication of 3 steady red lights, telling the freight train to not proceed any farther. This also set the double aspect approach signal located 13,600 feet, 4.1 kilometers, east of Dalehurst to yellow over red, telling the freight train to reduce its speed to 30 miles per hour, 48 kilometers per hour, and to prepare to stop at Dalehurst. The crash investigation found that the freight train was traveling at 59 miles per hour, 95 kilometers per hour, as it passed the approach signal at 9 miles per hour, 14 kilometers per hour, over the 50 miles per hour, 80 kilometers per hour speed limit. No attempt was made by the crew of the freight train to slow down before or after passing the approach signal. 7. The freight train proceeded past the Dalehurst control point, running through the switch and into the section of single track. At 8:40 a.m., approximately 18 seconds after the lead locomotive of the freight train entered the single section, it collided head-on with the oncoming Supercontinental. 1. Both lead locomotives were destroyed, killing their crews. The front cars and freight wagons derailed. Diesel fuel from the locomotives ignited, engulfing them. The baggage car and the day coach inflamed. 18 of the day coach's 36 occupants died due to momentum. The cars on the freight train piled up on each other, resulting in a large pile of debris. All 3 freight locomotives, followed by 76 hoppers and tank cars, were either destroyed or severely damaged. On the passenger train, 1 coach was crushed by a freight car after it was thrown into the air by the force of the collision, killing 1 of its occupants. In the dome car, others were able to escape either through a window in the dome that had been broken by passengers, or through the hole left by the freight car. The 2 sleepers following the dome car jackknifed into each other and were thrown on their sides, causing injuries but no deaths. The mid-train locomotive, 6300, was severely damaged. It was repaired with a new cab section from a KCSE MDF-7. 8. The last 3 passenger cars at the rear of the train did not derail, but there were many injuries. After the rear of the freight train came to a halt, Conductor Smith, still in the caboose, attempted to contact the front of the train before contacting emergency services after seeing the fire. On the morning of the 8th of February 1986, via Rail Canada train number 4 was travelling eastbound from Jasper to Edmonton on its transcontinental journey. The train, which combined Supercontinental and Skeena, consisted of 14 units in the following order. 3 Canadian National Railways westbound train number 413 consisted of 3 locomotives, EMD-GP 38 watts number 5586, and 2 EMD SD40 numbers 5104 and 5062, followed by a high-speed spreader, 35 cylindrical hoppers loaded with grain, 7 bulkhead flat cars loaded with large pipes, 45 hoppers loaded with sulfur, 20 loaded tank cars, 6 small grain cars, and a caboose. The total consists of 3 locomotives and 115 cars. It was 6,124 feet, 1,867 meters, long and weighed 12,804 short tons, 11,432 long tons, 11,616 tons. 5. On the lead locomotive were engineer John Edward Jack Hudson, aged 48, and brakeman Mark Edwards, aged 25. On the caboose, conductor Wayne Smithy Smith, aged 33. 6. Number 7. Amagasaki derailment. The Amagasaki derailment, JR Cisadilla broken bar Cisadilla wire knee ring plus minus Cisadilla middle dot say plus minus Cisadilla middle dot sa diaresis superscripto ash, Junior Fukuyama Sendasen Jaiko, lit. Junior Fukuyama line derailment, occurred in Amagasaki, Hiei-Ringo Prefecture, Japan, on the 25th of April 2005 at 9:19 local time, 0:19 UTC, just after the local rush hour. It occurred when a 7-car commuter train came off the tracks on West Japan Railway Company's Junior West Fukuyama line and just before Amagasaki on its way for Da-ring Shishime via the Junior Ta-ring Zai line and the Gakantoshi line, and the front 2 cars rammed into an apartment building. The first car slid into the first floor parking garage and as a result took days to remove, while the second slammed into the corner of the building, being crushed into an L-shaped against it by the weight of the remaining cars. Of the roughly 700 passengers, initial estimate was 580 passengers on board at the time of the crash. 106 passengers, in addition to the driver, were killed and 562 others injured. Most survivors and witnesses claimed that the train appeared to have been traveling too fast. The incident was Japan's most serious since the 1963 Jeremy rail accident. The train involved was train number 5418M. Limited top rapid commuter service from Takarazuka to Da-ring Shishime. It was a 7-car 207 series electric multiple unit EMU formation consisting of a 4-car set and a 3-car set coupled together as shown below, with car 1 leading. 1. The train was carrying approximately 700 passengers at the time of the accident. 1. The front 4 cars derailed completely, with the first car ramming into the parking lot of the apartment building and the second car colliding into the external wall of the building, becoming almost completely compacted by the third and fourth cars, which were themselves pushed from the rear by the fifth car. 1. Amongst other things, the Ministry of Land and Transportation asked all railway companies to update their automatic stopping systems so that trains brake automatically to slow down as they approach sharp curves. It is believed that the contributing factor in the accident was the Junior West policy of schedule punctuality. As a result of this, Masataka Ide, a Junior West advisor who played a major role in enforcing the punctuality of the company's trains, announced that he would resign in June 2005 at the company's annual shareholder meeting, with the company's chairman and president resigning in August. The section where the crash occurred, between Amagasaki and Takarazuka stations, was reopened for service on the 19th of June 2005. The speed limits were reduced from 120 to 95 km per hour, 75 to 59 miles per hour, for the straight section and from 70 to 60 km per hour, 43 to 37 miles per hour, for the curved rail section around the accident site. According to the investigations carried out by the Hiei-Ringo Prefecture Police, out of the 107 deaths, at least 43, 27 men, 16 women, including the driver, were in the first car, at least 45, 22 men, 23 women, were in the second car, and at least 1 was in the third car. This information was determined by questioning 519 of the approximately 550 injured passengers. On the 26th of December 2005, Takeshi Kakiuchi officially resigned from the presidency of Junior West in a move intended to take responsibility for the accident. Kakiuchi's successor was Masayu Maezaki, who had previously served as the railway's vice president, based in Osaka. While Kakiuchi's resignation came a day after another serious accident on Junior East, officials at the railway did not make any explicit connection between the recent accident and the resignation. A 2008 The Daily Yomiuri article stated that survivors of the disaster still faced physical and mental health issues. 8. On the 8th of July 2009, West Japan Railway Company President Masayu Maezaki was charged with negligence. On the same day, he announced at a press briefing in Osaka that he would resign, so the company can operate normally. 9-10. On the 11th of January 2012, Maezaki was found not guilty of professional negligence by Judge Makoto Okada of the Kobe District Court, saying the accident was not sufficiently predictable to merit a finding of guilt. The court, however, criticized Junior West for faulty risk assessment of the curb where the accident happened. 11. The building hit by the train was demolished in 2017. As of April 2019, a memorial had been built on the site, with only one corner of the building left standing. As of 2023, the report for this incident still takes a prominent place on Junior West's homepage. The text reads, "We will never forget the Amagasaki rail crash we caused on the 25th of April 2005. Number 8. 2015 Stud-A copyright Catrain crash. On the 22nd of July 2015 at 7:43 a.m., a passenger train on its way from Bohumia to Franti A-ring Kobe LA now collided with the truck on a rail crossing in Stud-A copyright K, Czech Republic. 3 passengers died and 17 others were injured. 2-3, it was the deadliest train disaster in the Czech Republic since 2008, when a road bridge under construction collapsed just in front of an approaching train on the same track, 2 kilometers ahead of the 2015 crash site on the 22nd of July 2015. A truck driver of Polish nationality was driving from Poland to Hungary with a load of aluminium plates. The driver chose a time-consuming route on local roads in order to save money on highway tolls. 4. The driver drove through a rail crossing near the Stud A till the Copyright train station. The crossing was protected by warning signals and gates, and the driver entered the crossing when the red lights were on, accompanied by acoustic signal. Citation needed. The driver drove into the crossing despite warnings, and as the gates went down, he stopped the truck on the tracks. 4. Instead of ramming through the gate, which is constructed so as to allow even a motorbike to penetrate the barrier and automatically sends a stop signal to all approaching trains if breached, the driver moved the truck only a few meters forward in order to avoid a direct impact to its cab, with its trailer carrying aluminium sheets remaining on the track. 4. After a few seconds, train SC512 Pendolino emerged from the curb leading to the crossing at 160 km per hour, 99 miles per hour. 4. The train driver pulled the emergency brake, managing to slow the train to 142 km per hour, 88 miles per hour, at the moment of impact. 5. The train came to a halt halfway along the Stud A till the Copyright railway station, about 500 meters, 1,600 feet, from the point of impact, pushing ahead and completely destroying the truck's chassis and trailer, while the truck's cab was chopped off and fell on the ground as a whole with minimum damage. 3. The trailer, as it was pushed by the train, inflicted major damage to the station platform, with projectile debris injuring 6 people at the station. 2 passengers sitting in the front carriage were killed instantly, while the train driver lost his leg and sustained further serious injuries, including to his spine, as more than 3 tons of metal sheets smashed through the driver's cabin and into the passenger compartment. Another 12 people were injured inside the train, one of them fatally. 4-6. The truck driver, completely unharmed in the crash, was detained by Czech police. 7. He was charged with public endangerment, which carries a penalty of 5 to 10 years imprisonment. 8. And ordered into pre-trial custody by the court. In February 2016, the county court in Nova 1/2J diocese and sentenced the driver to 8+1A 2 years in prison, and banned him from driving on Czech territory until 2026. Number 9. Louisville train wreck. On March 26, 2015, a Union Pacific Manifest freight train collided with a white Toyota Camry. 2 people were killed and 2 injured after a train hit a car in Louisville. Released video footage of the incident that shows the car driving over the railroad tracks right before getting hit by the train. Number 10. 2023 Ohio train derailment. A train derailment occurred on February 3, 2023, at 8:55 p.m. EST, UK'5, when 38 cars of a Norfolk Southern freight train carrying hazardous materials derailed in East Palestine, Ohio, United States. 1. Several rail cars burned for more than 2 days, with emergency crews then conducting a controlled burn of several rail cars. 2. Which released hydrogen chloride and phosgene into the air. 1. As a result, residents within a 1-mile, 1.6 kilometer radius were evacuated, and an emergency response was initiated from agencies in Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Virginia. The derailed train was Norfolk Southern Train 32 Newtons, 3, operating from the Terminal Railroad Association of St. Louis Yard in Madison, Illinois, to Norfolk Southern's Conway Yard in Conway, Pennsylvania, on the Fort Wayne line, aboard the 9,300-foot-long, 1.76 miles 2.8 kilometers, Train 4, were an engineer, conductor, and conductor trainee. 5. The train consisted of 141 loaded cars and 9 empty cars. 6. Other reports note 1 more car, for a total of 151 cars, weighing 18,000 tons. 7. Of those cars, 20 were carrying hazardous materials, including chloroethylene, vinyl chloride, butyl acrylate, 2-ethylhexyl acrylate, ethylene glycol monobutylether, isobutylene, combustible liquids, and benzene residue. 8, 9, 10. The train departed Madison on February 1st, and had suffered at least 1 mechanical failure before the derailment. 11. Security footage from a business in Salem, Ohio, 20 miles, 32 kilometers, northwest of East Palestine, and a Ring doorbell camera from New Waterford, Ohio, 4 miles, 6 kilometers northwest from East Palestine, showed fire emanating from underneath the rail car as it went by on the tracks. 12:13. After this, at around 8:55 p.m. EST on February 3, 2023, 51 cars derailed on the east side of East Palestine, near the border with Pennsylvania. 49 of the cars ended up in a derailment pile, which caught fire and burned for several days. 14:15. Of the 51 derailed cars, 11 were tank cars that dumped 100,000 US gallons, 380,000 liters, of hazardous materials, including vinyl chloride, benzene residue, and butyl acrylate. 16, 17, 18. About 48 hours later, the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, released preliminary findings indicating that the derailment was caused by a mechanical problem on one of the rail car's trucks. 19.5, which may be connected to reports that an axle was observed throwing sparks about an hour before. 20. The crew received an alarm from a wayside defect detector shortly before the derailment indicating a mechanical problem, and then an emergency brake application was initiated. 21. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and goodbye.